Yeah,
Independence.
and I need to keep a track on the time.
Yeah.
Hey,
Polish
man,
kids.
glad you could make
They were a
it.
blast.
5:31.
Very heavy Polish community.
Yeah, I was at,
That's where I
I
got
wanted
that
to
little taste for Polish sauce. They
make
used to go
sure
there and
I
mob and stuff.
put it down,
They have a whole weekend
like you
for
said,
Polish
second.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was almost, on Friday, at the
Twinsburg.
meeting at the library, I was asking if anybody knew, because I had not gotten
Did you go to
anything.
school in Ohio?
Of course,
Actually, no, I'm not
I
sure.
finally ended up getting an email from you or so, but I was saying,
60 years.
am I mistaken or so? And what
Yeah,
are
I
you
know, I
talking
got
about?
that.
I said,
I
the
know,
meeting's
it's
supposed to be
kinda old
Tuesday.
anyway.
Oh my
meeting.
God,
Actually,
it's
a
my
kid
fault.
that,
We lost my brother
tough story.
Sunday.
Oh dear.
I'm
when I was
leaving out of here
making-
tonight, headed to Milwaukee.
in
Yeah.
the neighborhood.
So I've
Real
been,
good kid.
I was in Denver all last week. I've got an infection on my face. I've been back and forth to the doctor. It's been, you name it, it's there.
I understand,
It's
I
just been
understand.
one of those.
Yeah, I was,
One of those.
I was not this Saturday, but last Saturday, I had about 3 or 4 things to do, but then lady in our Sunday school class passed, so of course I did the funeral or so, and so I didn't get to go, and in fact, this
Wisconsin been up there
Saturday,
twice.
Yeah. Well,
there's another
Been up there
friend
too,
at
Ohio
church,
State.
but I don't know them. It's one of those things that you meet them, you talk to distance, you know, say hello,
Yeah.
service, but he's not in my class, so I said, well, I'm going to go
Even for
because I'm doing
Ohio.
those Jimmy Ogle walks. I had
It's a beautiful campus.
years ago, I mean, he used to do it on Tuesday, and of course I was working. I couldn't.
Yourself?
So once I
Memphis
no
originally?
longer working, and I started doing them on Tuesday. So I've been on his regular walks, but you know, he will be leaving Memphis as of August, September. Sure. Going to Knoxville because his grandkids are all in Knoxville. You know?
Really?
And it's one of those things. He's now retirement age, and like you said,
She's
he
talking
wants
about
to be-
Jimmy Ogle.
he wants to be, he's young enough and good enough health now that he can enjoy his grandkids, and they're still young enough that they'll enjoy him.
Yeah.
Because once they get teenagers, you know how that is.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
so he wants to be up there
Oh, yeah.
while they're still young enough to want to have something to do with Grandpa.
Okay.
And I met them last year. They did a star or something for Jimmy on Beale Street, and so they had a big get together, and his family came down from Knoxville or so, and so I happened to be on the table next to where they sat, so I got to see him and say hello to him. So I can understand, you know, they're still Grandpa something else right now. You know? So
Have you been on the manhole cover one?
it's on Saturday. I've been, you know, before, but Saturday, and
It's this Saturday?
no, it was this last Saturday. Now, this Saturday is Court Square in the surrounding area, and then South Main from Chisca on down. It'll take in the National Civil Rights Museum. Saturday, we did, so he's doing one at 1, and he does another one at 3, and this last Saturday it was, one was the Union Avenue manhole cover, and 3 o'clock was Beale Street. And of course, I've been on both of them before, but Beale Street this time, we went all the way, we started at the Orpheum and went all the way down Beale Street to 4th, and then all the way down 4th and around by FedEx Forum, and then we went down to Clavering Temple and stood there and looked at all the markers there.
Yeah.
And also the I Am a Man Plaza.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
And then came back up. You know, we're the only city in the nation that has streets where King meets King. B.B. King Boulevard meets MLK Avenue comes together.
I hadn't thought of it. You're
Yeah,
right.
and so we ended up there. So I mean, it was a nice long
Walk,
roundabout walk,
yeah.
and it was really interesting. I've been on there before, but I think the last time on the Beale Street we didn't go all the way down to Clavering Temple and all.
Yeah.
I think maybe it might have been marked off or something like that at the time, but we went all the way down. And when I come down, you're talking about traffic jam, because I think it was a Lemoyne Owen possibly that was having their graduation ceremony at FedEx Forum, and you're talking about traffic down around there. But
Okay.
it was really enjoyable. And this Saturday, like I said, it's going to be Court Square starts at 1 from the fountain there. And then at 3, it'll be South Main. We'll start at Chiska and we'll go all the way down to the Civil Rights Museum and all through that area and all.
Okay, I'm gonna try to make it, because I'll be back Friday.
Yeah, well, you can go on his website, Jimmy Ogle, but it starts at 1, the first one, and it's usually like 75 minutes, so it'll be 1 to about 2:15 that you'll have the Court Square, and then from 3 to about 4:15 will be the South Main tour. And if you can go, because he'll have those. I don't think he's having anything on the 25th. Hello there.
How are you?
Hey, you made it. Yeah. So sign in down there and grab you
Feel free
anything.
to grab whatever. We're about to get started.
other day at you.
Yes.
Other night.
Yes, I'm so glad to see you here.
Sign in over here.
Mr. Green, Reverend Green, I got
Oh, I've been
5:57,
mean as ever. There's some-
so I'm on about to get
Going
started
to,
and just let the people trickle in as they may. Not gonna delay us. Let's get one of these.
just to get this to read it and find out what's going on. Because it's amazing how much you can learn by just reading these things. Oh, and this is interesting too. It shows pictures of what they consider as far as code violations.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank everyone for coming out tonight to learn about the things that are going on in Tennessee with us, and welcome you to the Great Faith Tabernacle Ministries. My name is Dr. Yvonne D. Nelson, and I am the facilitator for this event tonight. As you can see from the agenda, we do try to stay on time, we try to start on time, we try to follow a strict guideline for time. So, the purpose of these meetings are to address environmental issues, including blight, just things that make the city a good place to live. And we do it on a small scale, but we have big results. We expect big results. We try to work with area businesses and individuals as well as just the whole city. We have city and county individuals from time to time.
We have city and county individuals from time to time. It just depends on what's going on. Anything that's new, that's going on, we depend on the community to alert us to it, and then we try to look into it and bring that business or whatever to the forefront, instead of everybody individually going, trying to find out what's going on. We try to bring the people in so that one time, kind of does it all. And for you guys that have been here, thank you. We try not to call you back for a whole year. So we try to rotate. All right, let's see. What time is it? I see we have our first speaker here. It is 6 o'clock. And Reverend, Dr. Okay, thank you. We got some serious sound here.
Okay, I think that's better, Reverend Green, thank you. So Dr. Johnson, who is the senior pastor here at Greater Faith Tabernacle, had agreed to be here tonight, and when he looked at his schedule, he found out he had a conflict. So Reverend Green is sitting in for Dr. Johnson, and we are ready when you are, Reverend Green, for the opening prayer, and we'll get started.
Let us all stand, please. Father God, in the mighty name of Jesus, God, we thank you for this day. We thank you, God, for this hour, God. God, let it be wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that will be imparted upon us on today. In the name of Jesus. God, let it be fruitful. Let it go forth and accomplish what it has set out to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. So we're going to get started. I had been in touch with the League of Women's Voters, and if you notice on the back of your agenda, there has been a lawsuit filed. And we are going to listen to our state representative, Wanda Lamar. I'm going to invite her to the podium now so that she can give us the nitty-gritty on what's going on with that voter registration. So, Representative Lamar, welcome.
Thank you so much for inviting me out. Good evening, everyone. How y'all doing? Good. My name is State Representative Wanda Lamar, and I represent District 91 here in the county, which is pretty much northwest Whitehaven. So if you live in Twinkletown or anything west of Elvis Presley and north of Range, you are in my district. I had just finished my first session as state representative. I'm one of the newly elected representatives, but I'm very honored to serve the state of Tennessee. And even before I was elected, some of the main things I was passionate about was the right to vote and ensuring that the state of Tennessee honors our right to vote and being involved in civic organizations that registers people to vote. I was definitely involved in the Democratic Party helping to register people to vote. And so this particular year, as you know, in 2018, we had record turnout of individuals who turned out to vote. More people that we've seen in years turn out to vote. And the way the Tennessee landscape is, historically, Memphis is one of those cities where they want to suppress folks' right to vote because of some of the demographics here. That's a nice way I want to say it. So what happened was the Black Voter Project, which is a national organization that picked Tennessee to do a lot of this work, came down with a lot of money into voter registration efforts, hired people to get out, go knock on doors, register people vote, and we've had more voter registrations turned in than we've ever seen before, which is contributing to a lot of reasons why the county went completely Democratic, because it had so much more people to register to vote. Because of that, the Secretary of State, Trey Harvey, and many of our Republican counterparts felt like this was a problem. So they introduced new restrictions on voter registration. So I wrote a couple of those down. I'm going to go through these new restrictions on voter registration. Now, before I want to go there, I must let you all know that this bill did pass both the House and Senate, and the governor did put it into law. So this, I've never seen a form of voter suppression like this in my lifetime. But it's posed civil and criminal penalties on groups who decide to get involved in voter registration. This bill will require training for persons conducting voter registrations over 100 people. So if your group whose goal is to, if you go to the election commission and you ask for over 100 voter registration forms, you are now required to go through a voter registration training. It prohibits you from paying organizers to be involved in voter registration efforts. So just like if you have civic engagement groups locally and you want to pay some children who need some summer jobs, who need to want to go door to door, it's now illegal for you to pay people to go out and register people to vote. It requires applications to be turned in within 10 days of receiving them, and it allows the election commission to fine people, organizations that submit numerous deficient voter registration forms. And so, a key points about these proposed regulations in the bill that would create unnecessary barriers and legal or criminal issues for organizers who intend to submit more than 100 voter registration forms. For example, organizers and volunteers must complete the state's training, or they must before they're committing a crime. If they are trying to register more than 100 people to vote, if they don't complete this training, they are now committing a crime. Although I understand that training is important, we want to make sure that people understand the voter registration process. We don't want to be criminalize anybody who's trying to be involved in the civic engagement process. That's your constitutional right as a citizen. It will also, and more specifically, it would say that volunteers or organizers will be committing a Class A felony for Class A misdemeanor for not completing the training. It will also put in place $150 to a $10,000 penalty for mistakes on applications, which could pretty much dissuade anybody from being taken part in the voter registration process. And so what they're trying to do is, I understand the Shelby County Election Commission had issues where a lot of the voter registration forms were incomplete. But that's not necessarily an issue where we need to be criminalizing, in my personal opinion, criminalizing the organizers. It is that we are not doing, the Election Commission is not doing this part to educate the greater community on how to get these voter registration forms complete. Also, another issue with this problem, which is why it's a lawsuit, is there's such a low threshold to be putting a criminal penalty on. 100 voter registration forms, that's it. And you can be fined at least a minimum of $150 to a maximum of $10,000 each for 100 deficient forms. Now, I don't know about you, but I collected 100 forms in an hour and a half doing voter registration. And could you imagine if I got a misdemeanor for that, if a number of them aren't complete? Now, for larger groups who are doing mass voter registration, they can do upwards to 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 voter registration forms. You can go to a community block party, you can go to a fair or something like that. The issue is, when you get a voter registration forms, you're obligated to turn those forms in, whether they just put an A on the form or if they completely fill it out. And so the fact that we're putting a threshold of 100 incomplete forms is a Class A misdemeanor is problematic. So it's also a form of voter registration. Also, they have to be turned in within 10 days. And that wasn't an issue for us. We never fought the issue of them having to turn in the forms within 10 days. The reason why a lot of groups were holding their forms is because opposition groups were keeping track of what they were doing and opposing issues with groups who were turning in mass amount of voter registration forms. And so at the end of the day, we want every Tennessean who's eligible to be able to vote. We know that more civic participation increases access to communities, abilities for communities to thrive. We also understand that there are things that we need to do to improve the process. However, criminalizing individuals for trying to participate in voter registration efforts is a problem. And we're so disappointed in the Secretary of State. I'm so disappointed in my Republican colleagues. I'm so disappointed in the Senate for passing this bill. This is one of the most aggressive voter suppression bills over the last decade that we've seen. And so the ACLU and other groups are suing the state of Tennessee, have filed a federal lawsuit against the state of Tennessee for this particular voter registration, voter suppression bill. We are expecting this to get tied in courts. We're hoping this law will get struck down, but as of right now, it's gone into effect. And so we are being very vigilant about educating the community. I don't know if you know, but Tennessee ranks 44th in the nation for voter registration and voter turnout. Bottom of the nation. And we're criminalizing more people for trying to be a part of the process. Now, I don't know about you, but voter suppression is one of the greatest tragedies in our nation's history. For years, voter suppression has been a form to allow some people to vote while taking the right to vote away from others. And we're still doing this in 2019. And so me and my colleagues, my Democratic colleagues in total, voted against this bill. And we are happy that the ACLU was able to pick up this lawsuit. I will be staying in communication with the ACLU and these groups about what we can do to continue to help. We'll be pushing legislation next session. Now the session's over, about more information about what we can do to reverse this bill, but currently it's the law. So right now, again, to reiterate, if you are an individual or a group interested in being involved in voter registration drives, one, if you're trying to register over 100 people, you have to take a training. If you register more than 100 people and 100 of those forms are incomplete, that can literally be they forgot the junior on their last name, or they forgot the zip code on their voter registration form. Some people don't like putting their social security number on the voter registration form. It can be something minor. If you turn in over 100 incompletes, you could be fined with a Class A misdemeanor. It's the law now. So I want y'all to be very careful. I don't want to say that for you to not be involved in voter registration or the political process, but I want you to understand what are the current laws that are in place now. So if you do decide as of right now to participate in that, just make sure you take the training. And so we're going to be working and communicating with the Election Commission about how often they're going to be providing these trainings, what the trainings will consist of, how long are the trainings, can you take them online? We don't know yet. But I also want to make sure when you get an individual to fill out the form, make sure they try to fill it out as correct as possible, because we don't want you to get in trouble. Again, this is a form of voter suppression. I really hate that it's going on. We're doing our best to fight against it, but we're outnumbered by many of our Republican colleagues around the state. Our rural areas kind of outnumber our urban legislators. So I definitely want to keep you all involved and educated on that. I'll be working with Ms. Ms. Vaughn Nelson to get more information about this. I'm also having a town hall on May 28th at Riverside Baptist Church at 6 p.m. and we'll be having the Department of Transportation and Department of Education coming, and I'll be giving out more information about this bill as well. Do I have any questions from my members in the audience? Yes, ma'am. That's the slippery slope. Many of these voter registration forms that we turn in, people don't want to put their social security numbers in there, and they're deeming them incomplete. Now, the Election Commission is supposed to contact them and ask them for their additional information. That is what the process is right now. It's on the Election Commission to contact that individual if they have the rest of their information and get their additional information. And I understand people don't want to put their social security number down on the form for somebody they don't want to know. That's very, very sensitive information. And so we are trying to clear up that gray area right now. The problem with the Election Commission complaint is that they had too many forms and they didn't have the staff to contact that many people in a short amount of time. To me, you know, it's election time, you know, more voter registrations come in, hire more staff. That's my opinion. The money is there, but they did not do, and they were overwhelmed, and so a lot of those forms got thrown out. But they're supposed to contact that person. Now, it's easier when a lot of the Election Commission, what they had done, which is good, they go into the high schools and register the vote on site. I do like that process. Typically, it's, students are more likely to get their social security number if they know they're giving it directly to the election commissioner and they're getting fully registered to vote on site. That kind of cuts down on some of that. Otherwise, you know, it's a problem.
That's what we did. We were like Haven High School. And we had these students that refused to give their social security number.
Then they can't vote. And I can't understand. That's the problem. That's why we're suing. And you just answered my question. It is a problem that you should be. That's why the problem with the misdemeanor is because if someone doesn't want to get their social security number, they shouldn't be deemed incomplete. There should be enough information there to register to vote. That's why. That's part of the lawsuit. I hope I answered your question.
Well, you did, but I still don't have the answer to the problem.
I can't answer that. If this person don't want to give their social security number, we can't make them. The problem is we do need that information right now. Currently has a system is set up, and so many of times they just won't be registered to vote unless there's a process that I don't know about, that I'm not aware of. then they won't be able to register to vote. But, I mean, I try to ensure them that the information is safe. The election, when you give their social security number to the election commission, is safe. They're not gonna misuse that information and using it to make sure you are who you are. But a lot of times there's a distrust with giving out that number to government agencies. And a lot of that is they don't want to be tracked, you know, they can get in trouble, they don't want nobody to find them. That's when I've had one-on-one conversations with people in the community, they think that by registering to vote is going to send somebody to get them for other reasons, or if they got in trouble, they're, you know, hiding or whatever, they don't like to get their information out. So it's a lot of misinformation in our community about the process of registering to vote, and I've been trying to do my part to re-educate those, especially those young people. Being young myself, I feel like, you know, hopefully they'll listen to me as someone who's close in age, but some of them just don't trust the process, and I hate that, because those are people who can vote and should be involved in the civic engagement process, but they've been told by family members and things like that not to give out their social security number, unfortunately, and we really do need that information to come register to vote.
This second side of this, where are y'all standing now as far as getting it changed through after you get out of jail and you do the vote again, you lose your right to vote, and I know y'all been working on that. Where does it stand and what's the ticket?
Yes, this year in the House, it has, I think it's passed the Senate yet. We passed a bill that would take away the expungement fee for those who've gotten out of prison, as long as they, you know, cleared out all their time and everything. The fee to re-register to vote has been taken away. It's not law yet, if I'm not mistaken, because it's just passed the House. It has passed the House, the Senate, and the governor hasn't signed it to be law. But there are efforts being made in order to take away those fees. One of the biggest barriers is the fact that the fee to re-register to vote used to be $360 or $380. Now they cut it down to $180. Now they're cutting it down to there's no fee. So there are efforts being made in order to get these folks re-engaged in the political process, because once you've done your time, you've proven that you are a good citizen, you want to get back involved in your community, you should be able to register to vote. I'm a true believer in automatic voter registration. To me, when you turn 18, you don't have to register to buy cigarettes or to buy a lottery ticket or do all these other things. And when you turn 21, you don't have to register to buy liquor. So why, at 18 years old, should you have to register to vote? You're in the system already. Why not just, if you're 18 and you don't have a criminal record, you should be able to go vote. We're not there yet in Tennessee. Colorado Secretary of State just put that in place. I hope that we can mimic that as well, but in my personal opinion, I truly believe that they don't want everybody to have the right to vote, because the results of what our districts and our representatives will look like will be drastically different. But the truth is that there are efforts to kind of make that process easier. I mean, there is a way to do automatic voter registration. It's there. They just won't do it. But we're getting there. We're pushing them. We're pushing the envelope. But those fees have been taken away. So I'm sure the rest of that bill is going to go to the Senate at the start of next session, because session is a 2-year process. And so we just finished the first half of the 110th session. And so next year, we'll be finishing that second half, and hopefully we'll have that back into law by then. Any more questions? Well, again, everybody, I hope I explained to you some of what's been in law, the new changes to voter registration. Just be very vigilant. Do still stay involved in the process. I say if you're nervous about the 100, just get 99 at a time. Turn in 99 and come back and get another 99 and do it, you know, work the system, play the game. But please still stay involved, because y'all, I'm 28 years old, and I know I've been voting since I was 18 years old, because my mother instilled how important the right to vote was. And seeing Barack Obama get elected when I was just 17 years old changed my life. And that let me know that things are possible. And I want other young people in this city to know that voting is important. You have an opportunity to shape your community. And despite some of the laws that's coming in place, there are ways around it. And that's not around it. and that's not an excuse for you not to be involved in your community and vote and decide who your elected officials are, because that is important. This year, we have city elections coming up. You have city council elections coming up in October, and the mayor's race and some of the clerk's offices. So city council is also very important because they deal with a lot of your on-hand issues. And so we also want y'all to be very involved in that process. If you know someone who's not registered to vote, get them registered to vote. If you're not sure, you can go to shelbyvote.com and you can look up if you're registered to vote. If you don't see your information out there, you can register to vote online now. That's something you can do. You can register to vote online. It's so simple and easy. If not, call the election commission. They'll put you something in the mail. But please get registered to vote. If you have any other issues, call me. I'm Representative London Lamar. And I will give Ms. Nelson my information to pass it out to you. Or I'm really big on social media. Literally send me a Facebook message or Twitter. Whichever one you want, I'm there, and I will show up anytime. And session is over, so I'm back home, and I'm free to help you all at any time. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I'm having a Whitehaven Town Hall on May 28th at 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at Riverside Missionary Baptist Church on 3rd Street. Where's this law coming from? So why I'm calling this bill voter suppression and why the ACLU is suing is because they are imposing criminal and civil penalties on groups who decide to be involved in voter registration process. I don't think any other state in this country imposes a fine, a misdemeanor, on anyone who turns in incomplete voter registration forms. Because the understanding is, for every form that you get and somebody starts to write on, you need to turn that in. Because you don't want nobody to say that you're not turning in voter registration forms. So last year they had the influx of incomplete voter registration forms. So now the election commission didn't want to hire the staff to deal with all this information, in my personal opinion. So now they got the Secretary of State to impose these criminal fines. Also, the Black Voter Project, who led all of these voter registration forms, sued the Shelby County Election Commission because they were trying to throw these forms out, and some of them were actually complete. And so they say we can debate whether it's retaliation or not, but there's no other state that poses civil and criminal penalties on groups who are involved in voter registration. There are some states that had penalties in place for voter fraud. That means trying to register dead people to vote, or trying to register folks who are felons to vote knowingly. And they can prove that you're knowingly involved in voter fraud. Yes, some states have things in place to hold people accountable, and that's fine. We don't want anybody taking part in voter fraud. That's a crime. But to penalize groups who are just trying to participate in the civic engagement process is problematic. That's the difference, and that's why this bill is so egregious, and that's why you have so many of these civic engagement groups, like the beloved ACLU, suing. This is terrible. I mean, there are plenty of other terrible things that came out of the legislature this year, but this is one of the ones that we can directly say, like, this was a result of the Black Voter Project. And I've gotten the Mark Owens to say, you know, because of the issues that they've had with the Black Voter Project, that they had to change it around because of that. So it's not just, you know, most of this is not just being my personal opinion. These are facts. And so, you know, I sat on the local government committee. I spoke out against this. I fought against this bill. I spoke out on the chamber floor. I did my best, but I'm outnumbered. And so, you know, even the person pushing this bill, Tim Rudd, the chair of elections, he's the one that also pushed a bill that makes folks who want to rent to undocumented citizens go to jail. If you got in your own house, you're trying to rent it out, and you rent to somebody who's an undocumented citizen, he was trying to pass the bill to make it, you go to jail for that. So it is very real that we have racist issues going on in our state government. If you've been watching the news, our Speaker of the House has been caught up in a scandal framing a black activist and being involved in racist text messages, saying the N-word and calling black people idiots and things like that. And I called it out, I called it out at the beginning of the year. People didn't like it. They said bad things about me. Now they're proving us right. And so I want my community to know that I know we're moving the needle forward and we're trying to be more inclusive. And this is 2019, but we got individuals still alive who don't want us to vote, and they don't want our opinions to be out there. And so we have to work harder, unfortunately, to make sure we're on top of this and we're being involved in the civic engagement process so we can pick leaders who care about diversity, who care about making sure that everybody can be involved in the civic engagement process. And it's not right. And so I appreciate you letting me to come and educate you all on this. I'm going to continue to do my part and fight against it, whether they like my loudmouth self or not, but I'm going to speak about it. I don't care. But because we need that, and our community should be suppressed, and I want young people to be more involved in the civic engagement process. They gotta vote. So if you have any questions, just call my office or hit me up on social media. I'll be around, and I got a jet, but let me know if you need anything else. You're welcome.
For Representative Lamar, thank you so much. Okay, moving right along. Thank you for those questions. Thank you for that response. That was a very moving testimonial there. We are ready for Jeff Alcorn, and he's our representative from Valcourt. Going to tell us all about what they do in the community and what's out there for us.
Okay.
All right, I'm not at the podium, but Dr. Nelson called me again probably 2 weeks ago. He had to know more about the company that brought his